What is going on? I'm gonna wait for some people to get in here, so I'm gonna give it a moment, and then we'll go from here. Let me actually do something real quick. Why is it showing that? That's weird. What's going on, Marauder? Just showing some new things I'm working on. Giving an update on the APF editor, man. All right, all right, all right. All right, I'm going to get started in a little bit. I'm waiting for some people to get out here, but welcome. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to All Pro Football Heaven, baby. Let's see what we got here. I don't know why it shows this. Why is it showing this? That's funny. Oh, well. I don't know why when you do live streams, it shows like your previous things that you've done. It's funny. On YouTube, or on Twitter, it shows you like the previous stream I did on NBA 2K, which is great. If you don't have NBA 2K, you got to get it. The game is off the hook. All right, all right. Let's see. It's late up in here, but I wanted to do a stream and see if people can join in. I see some people trickling in now, so welcome, guys. Thanks for joining me. I want to show you guys kind of like the latest work that I've done with the editor, and just sharing with you where we are with it. And I wanted to get some thoughts out and make a video, and I figured I would just do a stream, and that would be an easier way for me to do this. So yeah. Excuse me. Sorry about that. So where are we at? Let's see. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and get started and share with you guys a little bit of what I've been doing. Hopefully you guys can hear me all right and everything sounds good. If you guys get busy in the comments, feel free to ask any questions, bring up any comments, and I'll try to address them, when I have time throughout this stream. If I can't get to it here, I'll try to get to it in the comments. But yeah, so this video is about franchise mode, right? So I was working on franchise mode today, and I've worked on it previous times too. I mean, this stuff just never stops. But um, but yeah, I think I have it working at an elementary level, and it seems to be working okay to just go from one year to the next year to the next year. So I'm going to kind of show you guys a little bit of where we are with the editor, where I am with the editor. There's no we, it's just I here, and then just kind of just share with you some things. So basically, in my last video, I showed you guys that we have these new icons here, which I think they're going to be very helpful. Shows you who you're controlling and what team you're taking in terms of their spot. So I'm the Crusaders in this franchise, and I am basically in the slot of the Gunslingers. Okay, so it shows you that the other 7 teams on here, 8 total if you include the Gunslingers, they're locked. They're not, you can't really control them. They're not in the game. They're not in this franchise mode. So you're basically using all these teams here, if you want to, plus your team. All right. So that's new, and I think it's going to be very helpful. And so basically, let's get into the franchise, right? So you guys want to see the franchise mode. That's why we're here. And I want to share with you guys what that looks like. So I just switched over to the, I didn't want to do that. Let me go back. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to show you guys the Xbox in a second. I'm going to show you the game, and I'm also going to show you on here. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and just go over to the game. I want to show you kind of where I am. So on here, I'm basically in year 4, okay? And if you look at the team stats, you're going to see 4 years. You're going to see 1 through 4, okay? And I'm the Crusaders, right? So this is my team. In this current year, I'm 5-2. And here are my stats for the current year, for year number 4, right? So what you can do is you can filter out, which is cool. This is all brand new in the new editor. You can use these filters here, and you could say, okay, I just want to look at the Crusaders, and I can look at years 1 through 4 and look at my stats. Year 4 is right in the middle of the season. I'm in the 8th week, basically. I've played 7 games. I'm 5-2, okay? But you can easily see on here all the different stats per year, and each year I have X number of stats. Now, the one thing that is we're going to have to just deal with is that the stats, they're being collected per game, whether you're in the regular season or you're in the playoffs. Okay. Let me just change something real quick, because this scrolling text here is wrong. It's actually showing Madden. I'm not doing Madden. I'm doing the exact opposite. Okay. That should be better. Whoa, whoa, whoa. That should be better now. So now the scrolling text should be good right down here. So yeah, so going back to the stats, so you can basically see the stats per year. And what I was saying was that when you go into the playoffs, if you win, I think I won this year. I think I actually won the championship. And I'm not recording that right now. But the problem that I'm having, or the dilemma that I'm running into right now, is that everything, like I want to add everything I can into this, and anytime as I'm working on it, I'm like, oh, like for instance, I want to add, how many Super Bowls you win, how many playoffs you make, how many division titles you win, what's your playoff drought? Like, there's so many things that I want to add into this, but it's just taking forever to finish it, because not only do I want to add more things, but I also want to release this. I want to get it out there. And my plan is to release it and come up with like a minimum viable product. They call it MVP. A minimum viable product, which means that this thing is gonna fly, okay? And I'll add new features as we go, right? So let me see something real quick. Okay. I got a question here. Is there any way to separate the regular season and playoff stats for individual players? There's gonna be a way, but here's the thing. So when you're playing in the playoffs, or when you're playing in your franchise, I'm gonna go ahead and switch over to the other to the Xbox here. All right. So when you're playing in the season, right, on the Xbox 360 or PS3 or whatever you're playing it on, you're going to play your season, and then if you make it to the playoffs, what I'm trying to say is that if you make it to the playoffs, hold on. I don't want to see it that long. 1 second. This is blocking my screen. One second. Let me move this out of the way. Okay, good. I picked the right one. All right. There we go. That looks better. If you make it to the playoffs, what happens is the actual season file will record those stats in that record over the record you have. So let's say that, you're in the first playoff round and you finish that week. Whatever stats you have, like if your rushing yards were 1,000 rushing yards, it's going to add the 200 you got, or whatever it might be you got in the playoff game, to your overall stats. Like, the file doesn't separate the playoffs versus the regular season. So the only way to really do it and capture the playoff stats is to make sure that not only do I have to code it, but I have to force and rely on you guys to be able to, save the file off right before you go into the playoffs at the end of the season, before you start the playoffs. The game will ask you if you want to start the playoffs, right? Before you start the playoffs, you would need to take this file and save it, and then load it in the editor, and then I would have to, which I can do all this, but I don't know what to do yet. Number one, because of time, but number two, really because I can't rely on everybody that uses this to follow the instructions to a T. People are not going to read how to use it. They're not going to watch these videos. They're not going to be educated with how this works. So I would need to think about how to do it to where you can make mistakes and your stuff won't blow up, but it's not that simple. So what I'm trying to tell you guys is that as it works right now, all your stats are accumulating, no matter if you made the playoffs or not, right? That's why I have 8,269 yards. If we go back to the editor, you're going to see I have 8,269 yards. I don't know if you guys can see that, but that's what that's showing in the grid there, right? And I had a record of basically 19 games. And I think I won this year, right? So I went 14-5. But realistically, I probably won 11-5, made the playoffs, and won the 3 games. And I won the championship, right? So the way that it's working right now, it's just taking the full season and it's loading it in here, and you get what you get the way it is right now. But yes, to answer your question, you can definitely do it. You're just going to have to make sure that the people that are using it are trained, are using the editor, are trained to load the roster at the appropriate times. And, but like that is just an example of what I want to add, right? What I want to add to this. And, hold on a second. I want to, how do I? I forget how to add myself to this thing. I guess I can put a comment, and I'm going to put a comment in. Whoops. Where was I? Here we go. I don't know why it shows me that. All right, cool. So now I'm in. Okay. I wanted to add my little guy down there because I wanted to check him out and see what he looks like. So anyway, so the point is that this is an example of what I'm dealing with here. So everything that you add to the game or to the editor, it adds more work. It adds more bugs. It adds more testing. It just multiplies the amount of effort that this stuff takes, man. It's just not, and it's just taken me a long time, and I have to do other things with my life than just this editor. And I'm also thinking that, you know, whoever gets this editor, they're also going to be getting free updates for at least a year. And I want to have things that come with those updates, you know, and there's going to be bugs, there's going to be issues, and so anyway, so I need to come up with a cutoff. So part of this video is me trying to decide where to cut things off. Obviously, the most important thing is that most of everything is working. I want this thing to be working. It's not going to be bug proof because I don't have those kind of resources. But I can have people test it. You guys, when you get it, there's going to be some things that are going to come up, and I'll try to fix what I can. But the fact that there are so many excuse me, the fact that there are so many variations when it comes to the files that you use, whether you use a roster or it's online or offline, or you're using one team or 3 teams or 8 teams that you created, or you're using a season file, or there's so much that's PS3, 360. There's so many things that can be different for everybody, right? And so the testing is going to take time, right? It's going to take resources. But what I need to do is I need to come up with a cutoff and say, okay, this is enough. Like, I've done enough to release it, and I feel like I'm getting close to that. I feel like I'm a week or 2 away from that. Okay. So I'm excited. I'm getting excited because this thing's looking really nice and it's coming around, and I'm so excited to bring it to the community, you know. But anyways, let's go back to the system here. So right now I'm 5-2, right? I'm 5-2. The Rhinos are 5-2. Here are the standings for my current season, right? And I'm in the middle of it. So you can see that everything on here is going to match up with what you see in the editor, for example. Okay. So if we go back to the editor, I have some new screens. Okay. One of the new screens I have is a standings screen. So you could look at your standings now, and which is nice because I have it where it shows the AFC. You can go into settings, you can check off pro divisions, and that will basically toggle on and off whether you want to show NFL conferences and divisions or you want to show what the game has, right? So if we go back to the standings, you're going to see Atlantic now. You're not going to see AFC. You're going to see Atlantic and you're going to see Pacific. And what you can do is you can filter it down, right? So right now, if I want to go to my division, I'm going to go to Central, and I could sort it, and I can show you that it's matching up, right? 5-2, 5-2, 1-6, 1-6, right? And that's the same thing you're going to see here in the game, okay? But there's a lot more you get with the editor, right? The editor gives you, it's going to give you more stats, right? It's going to give you like your winning percentage. It's going to give you your net points. It's going to give you all these different, your home record, your away record, your divisional record, your conference record, your winning streak, your non-conference records, right? Which these guys haven't played any non-conference games, right? If I go to all, some of the teams have, right? So you're going to get deeper stats than what you see in the game, and you're going to be able to filter and, show your teams. It's pretty cool, right? And this is the current season, right? This is just the current season for standings. So whatever season you're in, you're going to see that in here, okay? When you go to your teams, however, you can tweak it by year. You can say, okay, what did we do in year 2? Who had the most offense? Who had the most passing? Now remember, this is going to be skewed, and you can see that because these teams probably all made the playoffs, right? So that's gonna need to be changed. I just need to think about how to do it and when I want to do it, right? But if I go back, I can look at each team on here and see, what their records were. The guys who played 16 games, they didn't make the playoffs, right? But it skews it. But the cool thing about it is you can actually see all the teams and every year, and you can filter it using these drop downs. You can click show all, and it'll show everything again. So the grids are really powerful, and I spent a lot of time making sure that they work fast. Like they move fast, they work fast. You can scroll up and down really quick. If I go to the player stats, this will be cool. Like if I go in here and I want to look at Joe Montana, right? Joe Montana is playing for, I think he plays for the Knights. No, the Sharks. That's right. He plays for the Sharks. But you can see, year 1, Joe Montana had 117.1 QB rating. Year 2, he had 100.2 QB rating. So you can see the yearly progression. And this is where this gets really powerful and it gets really exciting, is because we don't have this in APF. You don't have the ability to look year over year and see how you did. And that's what this is going to bring you. And I'm so excited, man. I can't wait to use it. I can't wait to play my franchise. And I can't wait to see what more we can get out of this. But, I also am getting very tired and I want to get this out. And I want to take a little break, fix some bugs, and then eventually come back to it and add new things when I have time. I'm also working on a video game, a couple of video games, and I need to get back to that, right? I also want to see what the response is from the community. If people are supporting it and people are enjoying it, then I'll spend more time on it. If people aren't, then it's better that I don't spend that time now if I don't have it as my highest priority, right? So I'm trying to come up with a, I'm trying to come up with a hit list of what I can do, and I've done a lot, as you can see. But I need to start wrapping this baby up. Any new additional player stats other than what's shown in the game? Yeah, there are. There are new stats. I've derived some new stats based off of just what you have in the game, right? So if you look at the game, let's take a look at the game real quick. Okay? So in the game, if we go down to Montana, right? You're going to see Montana has completions. I have completions. I have the rating. Actually, I don't even know. Right, they have the rating. They have completion. Passing attempts, passing percentage, passing yards. Yeah, I have all that. I'm looking at both screens. You guys can only see the one, but I'm looking at both to see what I added in. But I know I derived some stats. Yeah. Well, it's hard to say. I have to look at it and tell you guys, but there are definitely some stats that are different. If I go back to the editor, obviously the one thing you're going to see is you can see all his stats. You can see if he caught a pass. You see, the game doesn't show you all that. You know, he could do some running, and the game may or may not show you depending on how many rushing yards he has. So there are stats that the game doesn't show you because if you're a QB, it's probably just going to show you passing, maybe some rushing, and that's it. He could have caught a pass. He could have done what Baker Mayfield did last night and did a fake. He could have done a throw to the QB, right? And he could have caught a 2-point conversion. But there are stats that I've created that are based off of the stats that are in the game. And I'd have to look and tell you, but I know I did. I just don't have them in front of me. I don't really feel like looking them up right now, but that'll be part of the release. Hopefully. If not, it'll be, you can determine what stats are new. So yeah. Where are we? Give me 1 second. Okay. What else? So yeah, so it's working. Like, you can go year over year, and I'm going to show you guys a live example of this working. That's the plan. But I wanted to show you guys first that you have your team stats. You can do it year over year. You have your player stats. You have your standings, your schedule, which is live. I mean, this schedule is live. It's going to show you what games you've played. I could tell you that for the stats, if I go to team stats in the game, the team stats, I definitely have more team stats for sure. Like, I have your current winning streak. I think I showed you guys that already. I don't know if I show it here, but I definitely show it in the standings where we were a second ago. I show you your winning streak. I show you your different conference play, how your records are per conference, per division, home, away. All that stuff is not in the game. Okay? There's more that's not in the game. Like I said, I just don't have it in front of me, but there's a lot. Like this stuff here, yards per game, it doesn't tell you that in the game either. Those are all new. You don't know how many yards you're getting per game, I don't think. Let's see. Average pass yards, average rush yards. Yeah, you get the average passing yards and you get the average rush yards, but you don't get the total offense per game in the game. Right? Yeah, I'm one of the guys that actually do something. Gridiron. I mean, I'm with you, man. I'm sick and tired of things us not getting what we want, and then also complaining isn't going to do anything. Complaining is not going to get us anywhere. So that's why I'm doing this, and you know very well, you know firsthand how much work this takes. It's not easy. It's not simple. I could be programming Facebook right now. It's the same amount of it's work, you know. It's computer programming, right? It's even worse because you're modding a game, right? So that's a whole nother world that's just, it's mind blowing how much work it takes. But if we go back to the Xbox, let's just take a look real quick. I want to show you guys. If I go to my schedule and let's play out the season, right? Let's just simulate the season here while we're waiting. I want to show you guys kind of how this works. And how it goes from year to year. I'll do a quick simulation and then we'll go to year 5, right? And see how this works. One thing I want to do is capture. So if we go right now, see right now would be the time where you would save it, because you do need to save. Like when you first, let me tell you this, the way it's going to work is you're going to create your 8 teams in the game, right? Not through the editor. You're going to create 8 teams, whatever, just start, just create 8 teams. And then you're going to go into a season with whatever team you want to be, or whatever, just pick any team. You go into the season. And then from there, which I'm going to show you all this in a tutorial. I'm just doing a live stream to kind of just give you guys an introduction to this. But you're going to go into a season. You're going to save it, okay? And when you save it to your USB, you're going to bring it to the editor here, and then you are going to rebuild the file. It's going to create your franchise files that'll track these stats, and then from there you can create your roster, right, in the editor. And then you start playing your games, and then that's it. You play your games. If you want to make new teams every year, or you want to change your players around, don't change your teams, because probably going to break things. But you're going to be changing your players around, adding rookies, retiring players, trading players, whatever. You go to year 2, you go to year 3. My point is that I'm forcing you to be smart enough to know that you got to bring your file in at a certain time, in this case in the beginning, right? But here, I'm going to have to force you guys to say, hey, before you go into the playoffs, right? It's gonna tell you, do you want to start playoffs? Before you go here, you guys are just going to need to take this file and bring it over to the PC, to the editor, And some people have asked me if I'm going to make it for the Mac, and I looked into it just briefly, and if it's an easy port, I'll do it, but I don't think it's going to be an easy port. So what you're going to do is you're going to save it to your USB, right? Bring it to your editor, and then the editor would either be smart enough to know, which it could be, and because right now it's smart enough to know that your season has ended, so I'll make it smart enough to know that you're at the end of the play or the regular season, and then it'll save those stats, and the playoff stats will be a whole nother set of stats. So one thing I didn't show you guys, I'll show you real quick, is your coach. Let me show you. So if you go to coach, your coach has stats. And I have here Super Bowl wins, Super Bowl losses, playoff wins, and I have more. I have like all this stuff. I have like divisional. I'll show you guys real quick. Let me bring it over here. I have like, oh no, this isn't it. Hold on. Here we go. I have all this stuff here. I have like playoffs made, playoff divisions made, playoff division wins, playoff division losses, playoff conferences made. I have like your division titles, your division percentage, your conference titles, your how many conferences you've won, your non-conference stuff here. Per season, right? And there's so much more you can do. You can do like all the stats that you have in the NFL. You can pretty much do here, right? You just need to do the work, right? I just need to do the work. But anyways, going back to the game. And I know I'm all over the place. I'm just, whatever. I just figured I'd do a stream. So what you would do is you would take this in. I haven't coded it. I'm probably going to do it, make things cleaner. But the way this game works is the coaches are tied to the teams, right? So you can't move around coaches. I mean, I could figure that out down the road and make them separate, right? Which they kind of are separate in my code. But the thing is all of the stats are being tracked through your coach. So my plan is you get a coach, you leave the coach the same, right? If your coach is Coach John Smith, it's going to be John Smith for the whole franchise, the way it works right now. And they're going to be stuck with the same team, the way that I'm thinking it's going to work when I release it. But you're going to be able to see that year over year, if you look here, you're going to see their stats. You're going to see that year one, Walter Reed went 9-8. Okay, year two, he went 8-8. Which actually, it's kind of cool. I did this today. This is actually tracking. This is actually tracking it. Oh no, this is the playoffs too, because look, 10-8. That's 18 games. Ironman, right. So if I go to the Crusaders, right, 14-5. This was the year I think we won the Super Bowl or the championship. Okay. So, but the idea would be to bring this over. Bring the file over when you're done with the regular season, and when you go into the playoffs, I'll have to just track those playoff stats at the end of the season, right? So I'm going to go ahead and hit playoff start. One thing I'd love to do is take this screen you see here, and that's another thing. Talk about stats. I want to be able to, and I've done the math on this. I'm pretty sure I know how to get all these. Some are a little iffy, right? Like the MVP. I don't always know how they're coming up with this. This is not part of the file that I've been able to find. This is just based off of stats, right? But I've done some work on this, and I feel like I know. Obviously, sack title, most sacks. If there's a tie, it's probably going to go to the guy who had better other stats, right? Interception, same thing. Total points, same thing. Receiving title, like I'd like to have this stuff tracked in the editor so that you can see year over year the history of who won the MVP that year, who won the passing title, you know, etc. So here's your playoffs, right? Here's the way the playoffs look. My team actually made it in this simulation. So I'm going to go ahead and just simulate the playoffs, see what happens. Looks like we got eliminated. You never want to exit the season, right? Because if you exit the season, you can't save the file, right? So I hit no. And then it's going to ask me again, do I want to exit? No. So from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to save, right? And I got to put my USB in. Hold on. All right. So I'm going to save. And I'm going to call this Crusaders. Which, like I said, I'm going to do a tutorial on this. I'm just showing you guys how it works. Rough, like a rough draft here. It may error, it may break, but seems to be working. So I saved it, right? So let's go back to the editor, okay? All right. So I'm going to go ahead and open the file. I'll show you guys here. I'm going to open the file. On my USB, I'm actually going to copy it, and I have another area where I paste it. I'm not going to show you guys that on my PC, but you're basically going to open that file, okay? And so what we're going to do now is we're going to go here. We're going to close this file. Or you don't really even have to. You could just do load file. It may break. We'll see. See what happens. I don't know why it's showing me this crazy directory here, but I don't want that. So I'm going to open the file that I just had. Do I want to make changes or save changes? No. No. Let's see what happens. So what it should do is it's going to figure out that the season's over. Okay? And it's going to tell me, do I want to go to the next season? Right? So if you don't want to convert your file to the next season, okay, it's going to say season 4 has ended. Do you want to progress to season 5? I'm going to hit no right now because I want to show you guys a couple things. Number one, the playoff tree. Let's see what that looks like. Here's the playoff tree. It's kind of cool. I haven't shown you guys this before, but I basically took a screenshot of the game, and this is all dynamic, right? You can click on this stuff here, and you can go to your team straight from here. Go to your roster, right? You can look at your divisions, right? And you can see that I'm in the Central Division Pacific. Like I said earlier, if I want to make it pro divisions, then I can see that, and I'll be in the NFC West, right? And then if we go back to playoff tree, oh, so look, this is a bug, right? See, it breaks when you do this change of divisions. So that's a bug. I'll make a note of that real quick. So that's the thing, like bugs happen all the time. You add something and you break something, right? So if I go back and I uncheck this, it's going to work again, I would assume. See, it's working again. So there's something easy there that I have to fix. But, you know, every little thing, you know, something happens when you change things. But this should match what we have in the game. So we're going to go to playoff tree, and if I switch it over, they're going to match. Hopefully, they should. And it seems like they do. Right? If we go back and forth again, they should be the same. Americans all the way down, legends all the way through this way. Let's look at it again for fun. Legends this way, Americans all the way down. So it matches, right? It looks good. Looks good. What else? Oh yeah, so we're at the end of the season. If you want to look over the stats, you can. You want to look over, all the entire schedule. This will even show you who won the championship game. Here's a championship game. This is something that you can't see in the game, by the way. You can't see the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. There's actually an overtime slot that I need to account for that I haven't even worked on yet. But if a game goes into overtime, there can be a tie, but there's also a column for overtime, which I know I'm aware of it, but I'm not sure if I coded it. But anyways, but yeah, this is the entire playoff. These are all the playoffs right here. It's kind of cool. My team lost. We got smoked. We got beat 42-24. We got slammed, man. Got killed. But this is cool, man. This schedule shows you a history of the games. It's not just the schedule. It's the actual game results too, right? And you can see here that I'm controlling this team. There's the icon. But let's go ahead and close this out. Let's close this. I don't want to save changes, and let's go ahead and reopen it, and let's move to the next season. Let's move to season 5, right? To year 5. I probably should do a better job of announcing these streams. I just kind of just randomly jump on. If I did an announcement, we'll have a lot more people. Maybe I'll do that in the near future. I'll do an announcement, make sure people know about it, and then they'll jump on, hopefully. So I'm going to go ahead and say yes. Once you say yes, though, the thing is once you move to the next season, your file is basically done. So if you want to make a backup or whatever, make a backup. This will make backups too. So let's see. Now this starts cranking away. It's going to go ahead and save every single stat for every year, for the coaches, for the players, for the teams. And one thing I'm noticing is that I'm going to have to figure out if memory is going to be an issue, because the more years you have, if you have like 100-year season, this thing's going to choke probably. So there's the whole memory component to all this stuff that you need to be, I need to be concerned with. But for right now, it seems to be okay. So we're in year 5, which it'd be nice if this thing told you that you're in year 5, right? But if you look at the stats now we have year 5 and everything's reset to 0. So what you would do here is you would create your brand new schedule for the year, right? If you want to do a new schedule, it'd be cool if you can just hit a button and it would randomize it. That'd be kind of nice. Maybe a thought. But my thought would be you go in here and you create your new schedule. You can keep it the same if you want. You can tweak it around, but you can change your schedule around. Change your roster around. You can retire people that if I want to retire this guy, it's going to retire him. It's going to throw him into the NFL alumni or whatever you want to call this. That's just a logo. If you want to bring on a rookie, you can take a rookie and let's say this guy's a rookie here. You can copy him. I haven't done this in a while. I'm afraid to do it, but in theory, you can copy him and you can paste him onto your team. I'm not going to do it because it might break. I don't know. I haven't done it in a while, and I've messed around with some things. But you basically can move around guys. You can go get your free agents. This is free agents, by the way, not rookies. Rookies are over here. You can create your draft class, right? And you can bring in your rookies. But the idea is you do the same thing that you would have done year one, which is create your schedule, create your rosters, and now you're off to season, number 5, right? And you're ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and save. I'm going to go ahead and save this file to my USB, right? And I'm going to simulate a few games, and then we're going to come back to the editor, and I'm just going to show you guys that it's working. At a very rudimentary level, it's working. I'm going to say that because I don't know how well this thing works right now. Okay. So it's saved. Put it in the USB. Transition over. It may freeze because what you want to do is you want to get out. Okay, good. Didn't freeze. You want to get out of the season mode before you mess with your USB. Like before you pull your USB out, you want to get back to this screen. Sometimes your system may freeze because look at my Crusaders. They're all screwed up. Look at the bottom right. All of their names are jacked up. Why? Because it's reading a rebuilt file, and a rebuilt file uses all of these spaces that are not, this game doesn't think you're using, right? So it might freeze on you, and if it does, you just need to reset it. But let's go ahead and go to season load, USB, and I'm going to go down and load this file. This is the file that I'm using as my season, right? It loads. And guess what? We're back to square one, right? So I'm going to go ahead and sim. I'm going to go ahead and sim a few weeks. And then we'll bring it back to the editor. Let me look at some questions here. So player progression. I don't have anything like that yet. But that's the reason why I'm doing this, because there's a future for it, right? If we want to add things like that, that can happen. But remember, all this stuff takes a lot of time, and I don't have all the time in the world to just work on this, right? This is like a side project that I've made a full-time project. So this has been like groundbreaking that I even have time for this. Oh, I don't want to do the whole season. How do you stop this thing? Okay. I didn't mean to pick the whole season there. If I did, excuse me. Let me go to team schedule. No. All right, so we should be on week number 9. I'm going to go ahead and save this. I'm going to save it as Crusaders 5. It's saved. And then I'm going to pop it over into the editor, and let's see what that looks like. So now we're going to load. I'm going to go back to the editor, and then we're going to load in. We're going to load the file that I named number 5. It's right here. Right now, that thing asks you every time if you want to save. I don't have it to where it's tracking if you saved or not. So I'm going to need to add that in. And that just takes time because you have to know every time you change something. Everywhere you change something, I have to have the application identify and be aware of every time you make a change to know whether to ask you to save or not. This stuff's painful, man. But if we look in the game, we were, our record was 2-6, I believe. Yeah. We're 2-6. Yeah, we're 2-6. And it shows it right here. So we're 2-6. So this is right. And if we look at the division, I'm in the Pacific, West, or Central. And the Rhinos are just taking it, man. They're just taking it. But I'm 2-6 so far, playing horribly. 0-3 at home. 0-3 at home. See, that's not right. I don't think this is right. Because it says 0-3. No, that's right. 0-3 at home, 2-3 on the road, which is 2-6. No, that's right. And I've played all conference games. In this game, you only play a non-conference game like once a season, which is weird. But there you go. I mean, you can see that we have year 5. If I want to look at the current year, I can see who's winning each stat. I can go to my team. I can see that I'm 22nd in offense, 16 in defense, 5th in passing. So it's cool, and that's why I did this, because if you look at the old editor, and I'm going to bring it up real quick. If you look at the old editor, it's like night and day. Like, I didn't want to use and even, you can even look, this isn't going to show you, but in the old editor, I started working on, and this is my baby, right? This is what I started with. This was the one that I used from the beginning. This is the one that I'm very fond of. But the UI, it's not even, there's no comparison, right? And I started to add season stuff into this. This stuff was where I started to do my first work. And I'm like, you know what? If I'm going to do this, it needs to be right. You know, this is what it looked like. If I'm going to do this, it needs to work. It needs to look better. It needs to have a better UI, because this is going to be able to grow wings. I'll be able to make something more out of this. So you guys can just quickly understand that this is just a whole different level of user experience than what you had before, right? And the fact that you can do all this stuff, I'm excited about it. You know, I'm so excited about it. I hope you guys are. I can't wait to use it. I can't wait to create my roster, my season, my franchise. And I'm going to be going into this editor, and I'm going to be looking at the stats, and I'm going to be looking to see, you know, I can even bring it with me if I go, you know, away or go to work or whatever it might be. You can take this application and these files with you, and you can do things offline that you don't need to have the system in front of you 24/7. And you can make changes, you can do trades, you can do things that you can make it feel like a franchise, like a real league, right? And you have all your stats and you have everything, and so it's going to be pretty powerful, man. And if you look at my coach, you can see I'm 2-6 this season, right? Kind of cool. And I have it to where you can change this stuff. I wouldn't change it. It's just cheating, to be honest with you, but I don't know if it would break anything either. All this stuff here is going to be kind of like use at your own risk type of thing. Here are the stats for Rob Moore, right? Year over year. You can go into the player editor and you can see what he's doing, you know, per year. It's kind of small here because the room on the right here, I kind of leave open for other things that you use, right? But you can also go to player stats here, and I can find whoever I want. I can find Troy Aikman here and see how he's doing year over year. He's improving. Well, year 5, let's see, year 5, he's 125 rating. So there's so much you can do with this game. When you say player progression, I mean, player progression is, you know, could you add that in? Could you make things for that? Of course. This thing could turn into a monster of a project. And that's why I did this, is because I want the foundation to be scalable. I want this thing to be able to grow the wings and get big if, you know, if the community wants to support it. And if people want to, you know, want to see it improve and want to make it better, it has that ability. But it's going to need support. This stuff is not free to do. It's not easy to do. It takes time. And I just hope that you guys, like it as much as I do, because I'm loving it. All the stuff you're asking about, Angelo, you could do all that stuff. You could create a list, and I'm gonna have people give me feedback, but we can create a wish list of things that we want to add. And like I said, if there's support for this and it makes sense for me to do this stuff, I'm gonna work on it, you know. But it has to be a decision of how much time is it gonna take, and what type of like how many people want this, how many people are interested in it, and how much time is it gonna take, and who's gonna support this, right? So if you're asking, like, you could do all sorts of things with this. You can make it to where, I mean, I envisioned it to where you have like a pop-up that says, okay, your season's over. Let's do your retirees. Let's retire players. Let's sign free agents. Let's do a draft. I can randomly create a draft class through here. All that stuff could be done. And that's why I'm trying to get this foundation so we can have that, those features down the road. You know, like I said, if everything works out, those things will come, hopefully. But, you know, it's like that game Out of the Park Baseball. That's not just one person. You know, there's many people that are working on that, and they make a decent amount of money. So they have the resources for it, right? Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I mean, I'm not taking it like you're being ungrateful, Angelo. I'm just saying that, you know, it's hard to, like, I have a lot of ideas, and I can't wait to hear your guys' ideas, but I'm also the one working on it, and I'm also very, you know, it's like if you're working on something and somebody like has ideas and like, yeah, why don't you do this, why don't you do that? And you're like, okay, chill out, you know, relax. I'm still trying to get this shit done. I'm still trying to get this out of the box, right? So I'm going to end this stream soon, like in the next like 5 minutes or so. So if you guys have any questions or you have any feedback, let me know. But that's pretty much what I wanted to show you tonight. I wanted to show you that I have the franchise working year to year. Now, if I take a player and I pull him off and I make him a free agent and I trade him, and are his stats going to go with him? Is this going to work if you do some crazy stuff? I don't know. I haven't messed with that yet. But I'm excited. I've been working hard all day, all week to get this stuff done. And I'm just hoping that we're close. Excuse me. No, tapping is part of the game. You can't change that kind of stuff in the roster, I don't think, or in the season. That's all in the actual game. I spent half a day this week looking at the logos and trying to figure out if I could try to crack that, and I spent some time in there, man. That was not a fun day, but, you know, I made a little bit of progress, but the logos are very hard to find, very hard to figure out, you know. But that will give you arthritis for sure. You're young, Gridiron, so you have time. Get up to my age. I don't have arthritis, I don't think, but shit, man, I feel old. Anyways, so that's it, guys. I mean, the editor's coming soon. I don't know how soon. It may take a month. It may take 2 months. I don't know. I want it to be out earlier but it also has to be the right time. It has to be working at the right level. It has to be tested. I want to do like a help documentation type thing. I want to do some tutorials, and I want you guys to have a good product that works. And I also don't want to have 5,000 bugs coming at me every day, right? The logos, there's a question about, is there a way to import or overwrite the logos? You guys can see it there in the stream. That's what I was just talking about. There's a way to do it probably, but I don't know how. And I've talked to many people that are wizards and that have re-engineered games, reverse engineered games, and they don't have a clue. So it's not going to be easy. The best I could do is in the editor, you can basically create, you can upload your own logo to use in here, which I've shown you guys, right? So let's just pick a team, because they won their first game in a while. I'll put the Browns here. This is a logo that I basically put together. And all you got to do is go to upload logo, and that logo is going to basically save as the team name, and now you can at least see it here, right? But in the game, you're going to have what you have. You're going to get what you get. One thing I added, I don't think I showed you guys, was this uniform editor here. So when you're here and you're picking your uniforms, right? Sometimes your uniform like database, the list of uniforms can be really long. It can start to get long, or it starts to get old or whatever. If you want to clean it out, you can go into here and you can look at all of your uniforms that you created, the ones that you see in the team menu, and you can delete whatever ones you don't want anymore, and they'll go away. So I always did it through the file because I'm the one that wrote it. I know where it is. It's easy for me to do. But for you guys, I went ahead and created this so that you have an easy way to clean this up if you want to get this to work. What causes name jumbling? I mean, if you're asking in general, it's bugs, basically. But like right now, like I'm like this guy, I don't know why his college is empty. I noticed that earlier today. But man, you guys have no idea how many times I've had to look at the names and deal with names jumbling. I've gone through it probably 1,000 times. Maybe, yeah, I think I have 1,000 times. And I still don't think it's perfect, because there are things that the Xbox does that messes with your names. They freaking do some stupid things. But it happens. I mean, and that's the thing too. Like if I was EA Sports, I would have 100 testers testing this. And I would have people that would test every file, every roster combination, every name, every system, up, down, left, right, every angle you could imagine. And the bugs would come out eventually. But you're still also dealing with, you're modding a game. You're modding a game. You're taking a game, and the game is expecting a certain blueprint, a certain layout, and you're flipping it on them. You're changing it. You're basically ripping out what they think should be there, and you're putting stuff in. You're injecting things in, and you're hoping that it works. That's why your Xbox is going to freeze at times. That's why you're going to get the name jumbles. You know, the uniform editor works the same as the old editor. You just come in here. If you want to upload, I'll just call this Browns XXX. I don't have a picture. So what you do is you got to upload what you have first, and then what you can do is you can pick another uniform that you want to use. And this is coming out of that database I just showed you guys down here. This is all the same stuff. Right? So that's how you set a uniform to your team. But I'm going to let you guys go. I appreciate you guys joining the stream. Hopefully you like what you see. I hope people, jump on and see it. And but I'm getting closer. I'm getting closer, and this stuff takes a lot of work. So cross your fingers. Hopefully we can get it out sooner than later. But I'm not going to rush it. I'm going to put it out when it's ready. And I can't wait. I can't wait to get this out, guys. So these guys are 0-9. Check this out. Here's a bug. Just like that. Here's a bug. Good thing I'm recording it, because I can see what happened maybe. But I don't know why it's showing this. It gave the Americans the Browns. See, that's a bug. I've seen this before. So I need to kind of trace my steps. But these bugs get fixed pretty quick. This stuff happens all the time. And I fix them pretty quick. But I hate to see them, because this one I thought I took care of. So I'm kind of surprised that it crept up again on us. But there you go. That's why I'm not going to rush it. That's why I'm not just going to release it or release it early, because I don't want this stuff to happen. And then people are like, shit, my roster's messed up, or my season's messed up, or everything's corrupted now, and now I'm screwed. I don't want to deal with that. I don't want you guys to deal with that. So, anyways, play some NBA 2K19. That game's awesome. I know all pro football. I know football is a different sport, but that game's going to get you some enjoyment if you're a sim guy. And that's it. So thanks for watching. I'm going to hit the sack, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I'll be sharing more videos as I progress. If you guys have any feedback, comments, leave some comments, hit that like button so this thing gets noticed by more people, and subscribe, whatever. You know what you got to do. All right. I'll catch you guys later. Have a good night. Peace.